The live stream. Who I think it is? By the way, this is called World Crisis on the soundtrack. If you guys want to download it. Catcher! I think I'm beginning to understand. What? An answer from the planet. The Promised Land. I think I can meet her there. Yeah, let's go meet her. Hey, where is everyone? Hey! I'm glad you're all safe. They all seem to be safe too. And now, what are we gonna do? We should be moving soon. And that means this place will... Oh, Lady Luck, don't fail me now. Shit! Hopefully you guys don't mind that I'm not saying too much. I want you guys to enjoy the music, so... I think I've said that for like the last 3 videos, actually. Wait, the flower girl. Hold on, wait a damn minute. What's going to happen to Midgar? We can't let that happen. I had everyone take refuge in the slums. But the way things are now... It's too late for Holy. Meteor is approaching the planet. Holy is having the opposite effect. Forget Midgar. We've got to worry about the planet. Obviously, Holy's there, but not much you can do at this point. Are we just too late? Wait, what's that? What the hell is that? It's a live stream. It's coming. And just like how we started the game, we end with Eris, right? And that's the end of the game, guys. I just wanted to, there's something at the very end, don't worry. Obviously I want to give a shout out to everyone who's been watching this LP. If you've been checking through this entire time, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. It should be like when you climb the top of Mount Everest. By the way, this is called Staff Roll. I think that's very obvious from the soundtrack, but you know, you should leave a comment like, I came, I saw, I conquered, or something like that, or like, I stuck through, or you know, any of those comments that say like you're able to make it through this entire LP, because obviously it means a lot to me. As someone who produces this video, I have to give a shout out to everyone who took the time to watch this. Hasn't been easy. I have to admit that these videos are extremely huge in file size. I think every single video has been about 500 megabytes. And in order to get the quality that I've been putting up on YouTube, I can understand why nobody does this in 720p. It's absurd. Obviously, at some point, I'm gonna have to condense these files down even more if I want to back them up anywhere, because they take up like almost an entire hard drive, like an external hard drive worth of space. But obviously, if you've been able to enjoy it and do all those other things, let me know down in the comments below. Obviously, I really like that ending for a multitude of reasons, which I'm sure I'll just kind of talk about right now. You know, like I mentioned before, it comes full circle. I feel like we started the game with Eris's face, the figure of Eris's face, moving out of Midgar, and then we end at a picture of Eris's face. I feel like everything comes full circle, and I really liked it because as a little kid, I felt like it was so unfulfilling, but as an adult now, when I watch it, obviously it can be interpreted in many different ways. I believe Bugenhagen mentioned something when we were trying to get Holy, and we were looking for the Key of the Ancients, where he says like, well, the planet's going to purge itself of all that all that's bad on it when it does this. So I always felt like the ending, I just always felt like, well, what is it going to do now, right? So does it purge humans? It just leaves it so up in the air. Like, you don't know if the planet was destroyed, but you know the Eris was there the entire time. I thought that was just so good. I'll probably talk a little bit more about the ending a little bit more when we actually get to the final closing scenes. That way my comments make a little bit more sense. But obviously, big shout out to everybody who's been watching it. Anybody who's potentially been watching it in 720p, I thank you guys for sticking with me this entire time. It's been a hell of a good ride. Obviously, this LP is not necessarily over yet. You have to keep in mind I still have to beat Emerald and Ruby Weapon. I do want to show off all the summons in the game, which I wanted to do, and I was thinking about doing a Final Fantasy montage of all the things that I really enjoyed in this LP, which is a lot. I don't know if I'm going to be able to cut it down. I don't know if I want to make it more jokey, and then because I have all the clips saved up now, because I played through the game myself and I don't have to have viral clips from anybody, I was actually thinking about trying to do like one of those things where you try to tell the story of Final Fantasy VII in whatever amount of time, like say 15 minutes, 10 minutes, or something like that. I thought that would be kind of cool, so I think I might try to do that. Obviously that involved me saving these save files for a while before I condense them down and then degrade the video quality and the sound quality and everything like that. So this is still an LP in progress, don't get me wrong, but this is the finale to the storyline of the game. So obviously big shout out to Ryomuto and Hiroki Yotsuichi, and this sound, I never noticed. This sound sounds a lot like if you've ever beaten The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Maybe this takes a couple of you back to my first LP that I ever did on my channel, but I feel like they played this exact same music in A Link to the Past in the rolling credits, which I think is just a really nice touch. Obviously, I don't think I had a chance to divulge exactly everything. Like, when I first started this channel, a couple of things I wanted to do. I felt like when I looked for a good Link to the Past walkthrough, I couldn't find it, and I couldn't find it in high quality, so I decided to do one myself, and I've been more than fortunate that people have been clicking on the videos, and this is probably one of my more popular videos, which nobody ever really talks about, but I know that it's insanely useful because I know where everything is in that game, and I've streamlined it as efficiently as possible. This series is obviously, the first video is really high on the charts, so I'm really hoping that with a little bit of support from everybody, when people stumble across this video, just a simple watching the entire video in its entirety, clicking the like button, favoriting, doing the little things, leaving comment, it gets more popular. And maybe this will be the definitive Final Fantasy VII Let's Play for somebody who wants to enjoy the storyline, get a good feel for like different strategies involved. I mean, I'm not very intense on strategies. I'm not like H.C. Bailey. I know that he's like the definitive walkthrough LPer, but I wanted to do it a little bit differently because I don't think that the game needs to be you don't need to focus on the gameplay as much for a game like this, because I feel like Final Fantasy VII for me has always been relatively easy, so it gives me a chance to talk about everything, which I think makes it a very nice Let's Play, while also being able to emphasize the storyline. I always felt like nobody takes the time to read the dialogue, which is the reason why I decided to do a Final Fantasy LP. I think it's kind of weird that me out of all people would decide to do a Final Fantasy LP, because I don't necessarily think that I have I'm not equipped to necessarily do something like this, but I always liked reading books out loud when I was little to people when I was younger, like whether it be my mom or my little sister. I used to read Final Fantasy IX out loud to her. I used to tape all the cutscenes and all the different dialogue parts and then put it on a tape and then just read it back to her, and then that would be like story time, you know. So for me, this is kind of harkening back to my childhood, and I said I wanted to do an LP of this game, or a walkthrough, or whatever the heck I want to call it at some point, that really tries to emphasize the dialogue and the music, because I think those are what really makes the game. I mean, the gameplay's great, don't get me wrong, RPG stuff, fantastic, but I really think that the music in this game and the dialogue that gets read, and what makes this game so fantastic in so many different ways. And obviously the way when I read it in my head, it just makes it sound so epic all the time. So I hope that I was able to convey even 1/10 of that emotion into the dialogue when I read it out loud. Obviously, I can't be perfect, I have to admit that. I know I've seen a couple of dislikes on the Eris scene, but there's really nothing I can do about that. But you know, the alternative is that you don't have anybody read it out loud at all, and I felt like if someone reads it out loud, it's just so powerful. But like I said before, the game's not over yet, so 500 years later. If I'm not mistaken, that's Red 13, right? Ananiki? And apparently Bugenhagen was right, there was another one of his kind, because he has 2 cubs now. Which is really cute. And that's the city of Midgar, guys. Completely destroyed. Vegetation, life, taking its place. And I feel like it kind of plays to the whole message that I said before, was like, well, what... before they released Advent Children, the way that I always interpreted it as was, well, you know, like, did they purge humans off the planet? Were they the problem? You know, obviously they purged Midgar, so I felt like they left it so open-ended, which kind of plays into like the environmental message that kind of resonates throughout this entire game, which I think is very, very interesting in modern-day perspective. Not to mention, you know, obviously Eris and everybody else. There's definitely like a biblical undertone that I definitely think underscores this entire game, which I think is just so powerful. And you know, obviously at this point, I think this plays throughout the rest of the thing, but you know, at this point, that's the end of the game, guys. And I just wanted to thank you all for tuning in. Obviously, feel free to click the like button on any of the videos at any point, anytime. You can go back, you can rewatch them, do everything. I tend to rewatch the first episode a couple of times because I'm just so proud of that one. There's a couple of episodes I'm really, really proud of. Like, I really thought the Eris scene turned out very, very well. The General, part 59 with Sid, when he's rescuing the thing from Mount Coral. I thought the pacing for that episode was just so good. There's a couple of episodes it's just that blow my mind, just make me really, really happy. I always felt like story time turned out really, really well. I might make a fool of myself on YouTube, but I felt like it was nice because I feel like this is like one of the few ways that you can actually get in touch with your viewers. When I do a Pokemon Wi-Fi battle or any other type of video, I don't always get a chance to do something like that. But I feel like you guys get to know me a little bit better as a person, the person behind the voice when I do something like this, and I think that's just kind of the power behind it. So obviously, always feel free to like, comment, and sub to any of my videos. I always appreciate you guys tuning in, and with that, I think that's going to close the game. For right now. Obviously this LP is not done yet, but the main storyline is, so thank you so much for trooping along with me so much, and I will see you guys next time. Final Fantasy IX, not necessarily down the corner immediately. I have to mention basically my plans for that. I have Audacity on my computer because I want to record the sound using a Blue Snowball mic separately, and then kind of up the ante on the sound quality when I do the dialogue reading and everything, because I think what I wanted to do is also play around with Sony Vegas, learn how to insert words into the video itself. That way I can actually title it a walkthrough, and I felt like I'd be very proud to title it a walkthrough, because in 720p combined with like a very good mic quality, and then like things telling you like little snippets about bosses and everything like that, I felt like that would be like the most definitive thing that I could possibly do for Final Fantasy, and it's just kind of the way that I want to send it out. But that's down the tube. Obviously, I think I'm going to finish up my Streets of Rage remake. I think I'm going to retackle Crystallis because I haven't got around to that just yet. I've only done like part 1 of that. It's a very, very good Nintendo game. Obviously, if you guys are interested in playing this game, like I mentioned before earlier, it's available on the PlayStation Network if you have a PlayStation 3. The PlayStation Vita has a downloadable thing, so you can play it on that. I think you can download it on the PSP Go as well. Obviously, it's available on the PlayStation, which can be played on the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2. And then they have little ROM hacks for NES versions of this that you can find online or anything like that. So if you guys enjoyed this video, or I encourage you to buy it, or you know, you just sat along and you enjoyed it for the storyline, thank you so much. I cannot begin to thank you guys enough. You guys make being on YouTube a lot of fun. It makes it a hell of a lot of fun, and I'll catch you all soon. All right, bye.